Well, hey guys, welcome back to the Base Piper channel and Rumble. All my followers on there, welcome back. Hey guys, I want to get on here and give you the second part of the first part in the last video about what we've been going through with the fiasco with my mother. As y'all know, she passed away last Thursday, and Saturday morning we had to visit the funeral home. Sorry for the look on the video. I just got finished mowing the grass, trimming, and blowing off all the grass everywhere in 90 to 93 degree heat. This is not my choosing, but the way my week is going, I was going to do this video with a pipe and break in a new tobacco I got on some impressions from Corvette Jim. Briarworks Cherry Cobbler. He said if he was to put that on to, what's he call his episode? Crack that crap, or open that crap, or whatever he calls that crap. But anyway, he said he would have gave this a 9.5. So I said, oh, man, let me try, because I know Briarworks don't get many good reviews on their tobaccos, but this one, I thought, well, you can't go, I guess, too wrong, too much jacked up with a cherry aromatic. It'll either taste like cough syrup or it'll taste like cherry's supposed to taste. So, I'm just going out there on a whim and see what happens. But anyway, I'm going to make that another video, so I don't have a pipe in this one. But this is recommendations of Corvette Jim. So, Jim, no pressure, buddy. So, the episode with my mom, as I tried to share, if I have to revamp some stuff, just bear with me. Mom passed away at 6:20 last Thursday morning at a hospital here locally. She had fought for 16 days, and really she went her way peacefully. There wasn't a lot of fighting, but Mom had, as I said, two major surgeries she had to do along with some other complications. This video might be a little longer, guys, so bear with me. She had impacted bowels, and she also broke her hip in the nursing home. That's basically why she went. And then they found the other stuff. Both required surgery. She couldn't, or they said she's not a candidate for surgery. She wouldn't make it through the anesthesia. She's 96 years old. She has 4-stage kidney disease. And she had some other complications going in, UTIs and stuff like that they found. So they went ahead and we put her in more, according to her POA wishes, her health directives, in comfort care. And basically, comfort care is comfort care. She couldn't eat. You couldn't give her water or anything because she couldn't swallow. She couldn't talk. We still don't understand that part of it. When she got in there, she couldn't talk, and her upper body was not much movement. I'd ask her to squeeze my hands, and she'd have her hands like this, if you can see, and I'd try to put my finger there so she could squeeze it, but you would really have to be focused on just getting just a little bit of a twitch. And that's it. Her eyes were more fixed a lot of times. She'd blink, but it would just stay, looking up at the ceiling, and Mama could hear, though. And some days we would get a yes nod out of her if you asked her questions with yes. If you asked her a question that required a no, she wouldn't do this. So anyway, hey Cindy, we wouldn't, that's my neighbor. She's going to take her dog for a walk. Mom, anyway, stayed 16 days, no food, no water, lasted a good long time for her age, and being in the shape she was, and she finally passed away last Thursday. Saturday morning, we had to go to the funeral home. Now, let me back up just 1 second. In the ER, when Mama was taken, and they were doing the scans on her neck and her head and all that, they said she didn't have a problem. No, nothing in her head, nothing, showed up anything. And then the nurse came in and took the swab up her nose to check for COVID. All right? They're doing this, guys, with everybody. I didn't think nothing of it because we were under enough stress as it was going on. And, I said, well, Mama's already had COVID, 3-4 months ago. Her and Dad got it in the nursing home. Mama ended up in the hospital, as you know, with COVID, but she did fine, and they got her through and gave her fluids, and out the door she went. And so they did a little short test on her, came back, well, your mom was showing positive for COVID, but don't worry about that because I said, well, she's already had COVID. They said, well, and mama wouldn't show no other signs of COVID. Um, they said, well, like we keep residue or whatever up our nasal passages for 3 to 6 months or whatever she said, after COVID, you could still blow positive. So for precautionary measures, they went ahead and they put her on the fourth floor with the COVID patients. But they put her on the very end. As you come in the main doors out of the hall, she was right there when she went into comfort care. So we had to, wear the mask and wear the gown and wear the gloves and, everything minus the air tank. And just craziness. For 16 days, guys, me and my wife and my other family members got up there and saw Mama. I had my mask half the time off than on. I was in her face. I was kissing her on her head and her forehead. I was holding her hands. I was by her bed all the time. And spent my birthday morning with her. And, no COVID. It was just crap. And so, but when we had to go to the funeral home on Saturday morning to start getting, their stuff was already prearranged, but we still had to meet with them and sign some papers and different things. The funeral director comes in, he goes, preacher, I got some bad news for you. I go, well, what is that? He said, well, according to what the hospital discharge papers said, your mama has COVID. I said, no, funeral director, she don't have COVID. They said everybody can keep a residue in their nasal passages for up to 6 months. I said, she was in there for precautionary, I said, and she was cleared 3 days before she died. We didn't have to wear the gowns. We didn't have to wear nothing 3 days prior to her dying. He said, well, this is the only thing they've got on her discharge papers. They didn't have nothing else on there. Long story short, the hospital dropped the ball, or the hospitalists is what they call the doctors now, the ones that are assigned to you. They got a fancy name now called hospitalists. And all they filled out was she had COVID, so therefore you cannot view the body. I go, do what? He said, I said, I've been around my mama for 16 days in her face and everything else, and I don't have COVID, and neither did she. And you're going to tell me after 61 years of living with my mom or being with my mom, I can't get 5 minutes before you close the casket on her, close the top? Well, it's the rules, it's the regulation. I said, we got to do something. We got to fix that. Well, we can. We got to truck your mama down to Richmond because we can't embalm her here because of they saying she had COVID. So we got to go to a special facility in Richmond, and that'll cost you $425 to run your mama an hour up the road to Richmond, Virginia, from Newport News, Virginia, if anybody knows where Newport News, Virginia is. So, and we can embalm her, and that'll be another $600, so you're looking at $1,025. I said, what, to view my mom for 5 minutes? I said, my mom and dad don't want to be embalmed. Because we're not having public viewings, we're not having church services, we're not having church viewings, it's just family. Because understand, all their friends are dead. My side of the family, we're down to probably about 6 or 7 people left, and they're in their late 60s and 70s. And then my wife's side of the family, they're a little bit larger. They'll be there. But that's about it. And if I have a few church members that might show up. So they didn't want to spend the money on that. And I said, well, no, she'll turn over in her grave. If she knew we were spending $1,025 to look at her for 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, then he goes and looks at the letter that they sent him, and he says, well, he went out and he did something, and he come back and he says, well, we got another problem. I go, oh. I said, well, what is that? He said, well, they didn't put anything about her hip or anything on the paperwork, and that is classified as a trauma, which means that the hospitals have to notify the medical examiner's office when there's a trauma. So, in case they need to investigate it to make sure the trauma wasn't intentional, or somebody didn't push mama, for example, or there was no kind of physical involvement. Um, and he said they'll have to ship her over to Norfolk first, to the medical examiner's office to be looked at, and there might be a possible autopsy. I'm going, you got to be kidding me. You're kidding me, right? I got a 96-year-old mother that went in and fell at the nursing home with a broken hip, broke her other hip. She broke the other one about 16 months ago, 15 months ago. Now that was the left one. She broke the right one this time. And we're going through all of this. I mean, we're going through CSI, NCIC program. You know what I'm saying? And he says, well, he said the medical examiner's office is furious with the hospital because they knew better. They should have put that on there, not just so. To make a long story short, we left with all that information, still couldn't view mama no matter what. Saturday morning, I'm having breakfast at a restaurant. I get a call from the funeral director. He said, I got some more news for you. I go, do I need to be laying down or sitting down? He says, well, he said the medical examiner doesn't really want to fool with it, so he's tossed it back over to the practitioner, or being the hospitalist, the doctor that was with your mom. And so for him to fill out the death certificate. But if it ain't filled out the way they want it at the medical examiner's office, then we'll have to run mom over. Well, because of all of this, mama was supposed to be buried today, Tuesday at 1 o'clock, her graveside. Now it's Thursday at 11 a.m. But the funeral director said Saturday morning when he told me about that, he said, I'm over it. He says, your mama will be buried on Thursday. We're not going to have you change this again. And if they want to exhume her body in 2 weeks to check something out, they'll have to do it. But she's going in the ground on Thursday. Guys, I'm going to tell you, learn from Bass Piper. We were very blessed. I still have my daddy. It's the 2nd of August. If daddy can make 23 more days, he'll be 100 years old. And I've been very, very blessed. My family has to have a mom 96 and a dad 100 almost. And so it's our first time at 61 years old for me that I've had to deal with a loss of an immediate family member, a mom or a dad. So all of this is a learning curve for us. You got to understand. I've pastored a few churches, and I've buried quite a few people. But when you're dealing with, you don't get involved so much on that side of what they get involved with. The pastor has his own lane he stays in. He counsels, he's there for you, but he doesn't go through all the mess they've got to go through that I'm now going through in my family. So we are waiting now to hear back from the funeral home. This is Tuesday now, to find out what they're going to do with mom. Yesterday I got a call from my wife, and I worked in dermatology for 12 years. Me and my wife were in the dermatology business. She still is. And there was a young lady that I worked with. She worked for one Mohs surgeon, I worked for the other, but she also went to school and studied to be a funeral director and an embalmer. And she happened to work at this particular funeral home that my mom is at. And she said, Wade, you shouldn't have any problem viewing your mother. I said, why is that? She said, because with any COVID patient, you have to wait at least 7 days, and then you could view them. She said, your mom died last Thursday, right? I said, yeah. She said, she's being buried this Thursday. She said, that's 7 days. She said, let me make a few phone calls. I know the owner of the funeral home. Well, hopefully, praise God, I'm waiting on a confirmation that we will be able to view mom on Thursday morning before her graveside. Her graveside's at 11, so we may have to be at the funeral home by 9 or 9:30 to view mama. Get a few pictures for dad. If all this works out. And we're still waiting on the death certificate of what's being put on that. So that will determine the whole thing in a nutshell. And I'll have to make another video quickly when I find out what that is. But guys, listen, the hospitals are in it for a racket. And anything they can do, it doesn't matter whether you have it or whether you don't. If you've had COVID and you go into the hospital and they swab your nose, because they're swabbing everything they can swab. If they got to swab your butt to find COVID, that's what they're doing. That is about as criminal as you can get in our society. But you see, they don't care. They're getting 15 to 25,000 or more per person. They're getting a kickback. You're the ones that are being, pardon the preacher's direct word, screwed. Because when it comes to your loved ones, they're not going to let you view them if they've got COVID on the discharge papers. This hospital screwed up two ways. First, they didn't put what Mama came in there for, and two, all they filled out was just the little infectious box, as I said. That listed, tuberculosis, HIV, and whatever other blood disorder mess you can have. And then in the other, they wrote COVID. That's all they got to write. Bam, you're done. Unless you're going to embalm. If you're going to embalm, you should be okay these days, because the main COVID variant that was, killing everybody left and right, they made it bigger than what it was, but still a lot of deaths, has gone. The variant now is down to colds and flu-like symptoms. Okay, it's not a two-stepper. So be careful and be aware if you've got loved ones that are near death and they're in the hospital. Okay, especially if they got to go into hospice. Get them out of the hospital as soon as you can. But it wouldn't have made any difference for me, because I asked the funeral director, I said, well, if we'd have took Mom out a week ago and stuck her back over to the nursing home to die, would it have made any difference? He said, well, not really, because the paperwork would still be showing a trail that she had it. I'm going, oh my goodness. So this is what Base Piper's been going through in the last few days. Not just me, but my whole family. It's been a rough time of grieving because of the aggravation and the garbage, and you're up in the air of whether you're going to be able to see your mother again before they finally close the casket on her. So, guys, just be warned. I know some of y'all know this and have experienced this. For those of y'all that haven't, I can tell you, it's no piece of cake. It's not a cakewalk. I got thinking when I got home, and I told my wife, I said, honey, the funeral home is going to handle Mama. They're going to dress her. In fact, they'll probably wash her and dress her. And they'll fluff up her hair, because we didn't pay for having her hair done and all that stuff, and we'll put her glasses on her. They can't put makeup on her, because coming out of a freezer, the makeup won't stick. So we'll be able to view Mom, put her glasses on her, and kind of, they'll close her eye, glue her eyes and her mouth shut, that type of thing, what they'd probably do. But other than that, she'd probably look just like we saw her in the hospital room when she passed away. And really, to be honest, I want to see Mom, but I'm doing it more for my dad, because my dad can't be there for the funeral, and he didn't have a chance to see Mom at the end. And so it's more or less to get some pictures and pictures of the casket for him for memories. That's all. Some people might think, well, that's pretty morbid. Yeah, some people look at it that way, and some people look at it a little different. And right now we're looking at it a little different. we want to be able to have a picture for Dad, so he could, if it's nothing more, hey, can I see that picture of your mom? Look, guys, after 76 years of marriage, you're like glue, brother. And that's what we're sweating out now, that he doesn't go soon because of grief. But so far, I got a flying around here. I must smell good for him. So anyway, be praying for my family. Mom don't need your prayers anymore. She's in a good place. Thank God she's out of this garbage and this trash called the world. And we're going to see Mama again. Praise the Lord. All of that is good. And just God is good, positive, positive, positive all the way around with this. It's just the aggravating mankind crap that you got to go through down here. The greed, the bureaucracy, the politics, the garbage that they don't care one iota about us. It's all about the few that's in control, right? So, be in prayer. Those are the praying kind out there to YTPC. And also on Rumble. Um, that we'll get through this and that we'll be able to view Mom, that God's going to work it out. And I think God might have worked this out for us and or will work it out. And so, but it's just been a trying time. I didn't have time the other day to spend a lot of time on it. We were kind of in a rush. And this week we're in a rush. I mean, of all weeks, we started Vacation Bible School last night, and we've got it all week. And the preacher, of course, has got to preach the adult class, so I've got to prepare messages and study every day to get something together for every night. I don't know about Thursday night. Since we're burying Mom on Thursday, I might turn that over to one of my deacons, and I might just take that night off just to chill. But other than that, it's run, 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 and I had to get the grass done in case people come over to the house and want to bring food or they want to stop by. We want to make sure the yard is halfway manicured, and so I didn't have no time to grab it but today. And then I wanted to make this video, and I guess I could have took a shower for you before I made it. What do you think? But but anyway, guys, listen, love you guys. Appreciate your prayers for Mom. Keep praying for Dad if you want to pray for one of my family members. Dad's doing okay. He's doing good. He's taking it well. But pray that he makes it to his 100th birthday. He said, I want to reach Bob Hope and George Burns' age, and that was 100. And by the way, guys, I know it's 22 minutes, but by the way, let me put this in here in case you don't know. Did you all know that George Burns smoked 10 to 12 cigars a day? Did y'all know that? Some of you guys that know George Burns and Gracie, they were comedian act way back in the day, and the 60s, 70s era. George Burns used to smoke El Producto Queens. He had a running order on his credit card with El Producto. They shipped him 300 cigars a month to his home. Now, George Burns smoked and had higher dollar cigars than El Productos, but they said he kept those for his friends, impress his friends. Here's a $20 cigar. I'm gonna smoke my whatever El Productos were back in the 60s and the 50s. Probably what, $3, $4, whatever. And if a month had 31 days in it, he ran out. But he would send his butler and his servants to go out to all the drugstores and find every El Producto Queen they could get their hands on and bring it back until he could get his order in from El Producto the next month. So just a little tad bit of information about George Burns. It goes to show you cigars don't kill you either, I guess. He lived to be 100. I don't know when he started smoking. But if you go look up George Burns on YouTube, you'll see him on most of the shows. He'd hold a cigar, he'd have his cigar. He'd use that for like a stage prop type thing. But he'd take a puff here and there, and and that's maybe how he smoked them. Yeah, who knows? I don't know if he smoked the cigars down to that or not. He might took about 12 puffs and threw it out. Who knows? But I thought maybe I'd share that little bit of tidbit of information in case you didn't know that. That was free. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get off of here. Relax and have a pipe. And don't forget to count the many blessings God gives us every day. And thank you for your prayers. Thank you for praying for Mom. And you got her through. Prayers got her through quite a few things. But we knew this time around it was going to be tough. And it was her time. And our time as well to say bye to Mom. As Dad said, son, you can't live forever. And that's true. But I hope God gives me a good long life and my wife as well. And if we could stay in good health, I'd like to see a good long life. And people joke with me. They said, well, Wade, you probably will with that in your genes. Your mama's side and your daddy's side, they're all in their late 90s and early 90s. And I said, yeah, but that don't mean nothing. And so Bass Piper's still working on his weight. I got to get some weight off, or I might not see it, you know. But but anyway, guys, thank you so much for your prayers. We love you. Thank you for all my subscribers and support. 25 minutes. I'm gonna hang it up, man. So listen, you guys take care. I'll come back sometime this week and try out that cherry cobbler from Briarworks and see what that aromatic is like. And I'm putting Corvette Jim I'm putting the pressure on you, Jim, to see what this is like. You give that thing a 9.5, man. So that thing must be the creme of la creme of cherry tobaccos. So we'll see. I know it's all about everybody's palate too, right? So anyway, guys, we'll talk with you later. Bye bye.